After losing their foothold on the beaches, the Japanese began pulling back their forces towards the center of their respective island. They maintained an offensive strategy by way of guerrilla tactics, conducting raids on the American forces before once again retreating back into the dense jungle. The mountainous jungle terrain was very difficult to navigate, making it a slow effort for the American soldiers and Marines to pursue their enemy. Some islands were cleared of enemy troops within days, others took the entirety of 6 months. But as the Americans forced them further and further towards the central, unexplored regions of the island jungle, horrifying rumors then began to circulate amongst the Japanese soldiers. Reports were now being made about their men encountering giant, hairy creatures. Giant men. These giants were described as being between 8 to 15 feet tall with red eyes, some of which were covered in shaggy black, brown, or red hair. But while many such stories have come about during other military campaigns, stories about man-like ape creatures, such as the rock apes or batutut in Vietnam, these giants were considered an entirely different kind of creature. They were said to be much more human, and they carried massive stone clubs, spears, and other rudimentary weapons. When encountered, these giants were said to mercilessly attack the Japanese men who were unfortunate enough to stumble across them, smashing them with their heavy clubs, spearing them, carrying them off screaming, or even tearing them apart and eating them alive on the spot. Other stories describe the giants displaying territorial acts, bellowing loudly and ripping entire trees out of the ground in massive displays of strength, the terrified Japanese soldiers then scattering into the jungle. The men then tried to hide, laying low to the ground throughout the night, hearing the nerve-wracking sounds of these monstrous beings crashing through the dense jungle around them, hunting them. Sleep became impossible for the Japanese, not only from abject terror, but from the sounds of the giants' bellowing howls and the abruptly silent screams of fellow soldiers piercing the night air. As the battle raged on over the following weeks, during the daylight hours, the Japanese men had the American forces to contend with on their front lines. And by night, they now lived in a constant state of terror, unable to sleep for fear of what would happen to them if they were found by the giants.